We all know life comes in seasons, economies come in seasons, and everybody loves springtime. Because if you start a business in springtime, you look like a genius, right? You get in there, you're in the middle of a growth period, and you think you're a genius business person. You're just in the right place at the right time. And then there's the hot summer that follows spring. After all this growth, it's easy. There's the hard part. It gets really hot. You got to try and protect what you've built. And if you make it through to autumn or fall, you're in the reaping time, where you get to be rewarded massively for what it is you've done if you've really worked hard in the spring and worked hard through the summer. And if you're really smart, when you're in that fall period, you're collecting some of what you're doing and saving it for the next winter. And by the way, where are we in the economies from most of the world right now? No question it's winter. Now, what does winter mean? Well, I live here in Palm Beach, Florida. It's winter. It's pretty cool, right? Wintertime is not really a bad place here. So winter doesn't mean every day is a downpour, every day is a hurricane. It just means people's mindsets overall are more fear-based. They see things and they make them worse than they are. And what makes you successful as a leader is you see things that they are, but not worse than they are. Because when you make it worse than it is, you're overwhelmed and you just give up. And on the other side, you got to see it better than it is if you're a leader, because without a vision, people perish. You need a vision beyond today. And then you got to take that vision and make it real. That's where the strategy and psychology we're going to work on makes things happen. And who knows? No one can tell you for sure, but if you study, we're probably halfway through winter. We're not done. Winter usually has huge economic challenge, and it usually has war. What's the best time to start a business? What season? Think of the seasons. Springtime, it's easy. Summer, it's kind of hot and tough. Fall, when everything's coming together, someone will give you a mortgage even though you have a pulse and no income, right? That's that time. Stock markets go crazy even when there's problems. Or winter, when it's really tough. Where would you say would be the best time to start a business? Of course, winter, right? Sounds like you're a tough guy then. But it is true, because you know it's true? You look at the biggest companies on earth, the Fortune 1000 today, and more than 65% of them were born in a winter. Winter means either a recession or a depression. Unbelievable. Why? Because if you can do well in winter, you get so strong that all the other seasons are a piece of cake. So you really got to understand that winter is a great season. Some people freeze to death. Other people learn to ski and snowboard and build a fire and learn and grow and be with their family. So you don't want to wait for another season. You want to take advantage of the season you're in. And this is the season that'll season you, because what will most people do during winter in business? They'll pull back. They're afraid, they're worried about cash flow. They'll spend less on marketing. They'll try to rationalize. And when they do all those things, they automatically shrink. So your opportunity in winter is the greatest opportunity in your life. There's one more thing to realize. Not only is winter a great season, not only is there an economic season where people got to sell because they're older, and if you're smart, you can use it, but we're also in a time where you could be a brand new startup and crush companies that are 100 years old. If you can step up and if you can figure something out that adds more value, you can dwarf a business that's been around a century with more capital than you ever had in your lifetime. You are living in the greatest time on earth to run a business, but only if you have the right psychology. Because if you turn on your television, if you read your newspaper, you don't need to do any of that. If you pick out your phone, you're going to have plenty fed to you about how horrible everything is. And if you become one of the masses, you'll eat like the masses. You'll act like the masses. And you'll suffer like the masses. Our job as leaders is to bring value to the masses to break through that fear. And if you can make those investments so you can have that courage, it doesn't mean you're not afraid, right? It's not courage if you're not afraid. If you're afraid but you can get yourself to do it anyway, and you do it intelligently, you're doing it smartly, this could be the greatest time of your entire life. Think about it. The more millionaires were made in the Depression than any time in American history. How many remember John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy? You know what country you're from, all around the world, right? Well, his father, Joseph Kennedy, was worth $4 million in 1929. $4 million, that'd be about $40 million today, to give you an idea. And 6 years later, he's worth $180 million, which is $3 billion in 6 years. Because guess what everybody did when it got scary? Let me out of here. He got to buy everything for pennies on the dollar because he wasn't afraid, because he knew something I want you to remember. No problem lasts forever. When things are going great, people are stupid. They think it's always going to be great. When things go bad, people think it's always going to be what? Bad, and they're wrong. No winter lasts forever. No pandemic lasts forever. No war lasts forever. no bad economy lasts forever. It just doesn't. But the human brain is so used to slow evolution. We're no longer at the tempo of the steel age and the bronze age of 1,000 years for change. It now happens in weeks or days. In fact, in AI, it's happening in hours. If you're going to be effective in business, you have to become a creator of value. You have to find a way to do more for others than anybody else does in your industry if you're going to build a brand and if you're going to dominate. And anyone can, but very few do. But if you do that, you have to grow personally, because the chokehold on the growth of any business, if it's not growing at the tempo you want, it's always the leadership. And if you can make the changes in the leadership and the psychology of yourself as a leader and or your skills, and by the way, jot it down, 80% of success is psychology, 20% is skills. I had the chance to learn from some of the smartest and most successful people in the world and accelerate my education massively. So the skills are invaluable. The right strategy, the right skill can save you 10, 20 years in business. But someone can show you the best strategy in the world, and if you don't have the right psychology, the right mindset, the right emotion, the right beliefs, you're gonna read it, you're gonna learn it, you're gonna hear about it, but you're not gonna do it. If you can grow something for decades and help people around your country or around your city, around your community, around the world, and you're doing something that's meaningful, it fills you up more than the economics. But if you run your business right, you can also create the wealth to take care of your family and to take care of people you don't even know. In order to get in this game and really be successful, you have to be a gladiator. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by being a gladiator? Well, you gotta be someone that no matter what happens, you're not going down. Even though all the odds are against you, because most gladiators, the odds were against them. But some of them, didn't matter what they did, brought them tigers, lions, 3 guys attacking them, and they still slaughtered them all and still standing. However, the psychology of the gladiator is really interesting, because this is a game called business where the more you play, the more likely you die. 96% of businesses fail in a 10-year period. That means only 4% make it. 4 out of 100 businesses make it. It doesn't mean they're profitable. It just means they're still standing. So the more you play, the more likely you die. So what makes you a gladiator? The odds are against you and you go, I don't care. Everyone else is dying today, not me. It doesn't matter the odds are against me. It doesn't matter what shows up. It doesn't matter it's wintertime. It doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter who my competition is. I will find the way or make the way. Who's with me? Make some noise.